What a start for the Leafs this postseason. The Battle of Ontario is back after 21 years and it has the same intensity, passion and physicality as it did all those years ago. Leafs versus Senators, Game 1, Round 1 of the 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs, and the Leafs win it 6-2. Yeah!
That's 2 minutes for running, and then Joel, number 211, 2574, and 89 have 2 minutes for running.
Game 1! Tick. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Victoria and I talk everything hockey and Toronto Maple Leafs from across the pond in Scotland. Today we're talking about Game 1 of the playoffs. Of course, for the past few years I have made a video after every Leafs postseason game. Obviously, usually there are not that many to make, and so I thought we'd continue it this year because it's fun. I am no analyst, just a fan that stays up very late watching these games, and I like making videos about it. So we'll talk a little bit about Game 1 and I'll post these after every single Leafs postseason game, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just keep watching. Also, just before we get started, my neighbours are being incredibly noisy today and they're making so much noise right outside my window, so if you can hear that, I apologise. Number 2, which is that my asthma is like really bad today for some reason and I cough a lot. I don't know if it's like allergy season or I don't know what it is. I don't know. But I have been coughing all morning and it's definitely asthma related. So if I start coughing or if I sound weird, I also apologise for that. Anyway, housekeeping done. Let's talk about the game. It was a good one. I am very happy today. So the game starts and it's just as intense as you could imagine it to be. Stützle actually got the first shot on goal against Stollarz, but Stollarz, he had a hell of a game. He was standing strong. But the game kicks off with a lot of intensity and physicality, which is exactly what I think everyone anticipated. It's what the Battle of Ontario games were always like in the postseason previously, so it's no surprise. The first few shots on net actually came from the Senators, so Stollarz was doing a little bit more work, but then Austin Matthews had the Leafs' first shot of the game on net against Ullmark. Then the Leafs get their second shot on net of the game, courtesy of none other than Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who is of course only just back in the lineup, and he manages to find the back of the net. So Ekman-Larsson hits one home, a wrist shot from Lawton and Järnkrok at 7 minutes 9 into the game. Maybe not the most expected first goal scorer for the Leafs, but wow, I'll take it. Calle Järnkrok also came close to making it 2 for the Leafs, and the Leafs were making a lot of hits too, which is great to see. Berube hockey definitely feels a lot more physical and I'm here for it. Ottawa are definitely getting more shots on net at this point, and they did throughout the whole game, but the Leafs had far more dangerous chances, and a great defensive play off of Austin Matthews leads to Mitch Marner getting a breakaway and making it 2-0 Leafs. Yes, you heard that right. The core group are actually showing up in the postseason. Nylander also gets a good chance around this time too. It's just really good to see the core group showing up immediately in a series like this. It's a flaw that the Leafs have had many times in the past, where the core group just don't all show up right on time, and it definitely costs them, whereas in last night's game, the entire core showed up. The entire team showed up, to be honest. Around the 16-minute mark, Ottawa responds and makes it a 2-1 game. Stollarz just missed slightly on a rebound and Batherson capitalises on this opportunity and it's a 1-goal game. At the end of the first period, the Leafs were outshot to Ottawa 13-5, but that is very normal for the style of hockey that they are playing. It's more about quality rather than quantity in terms of shots on net, and clearly it works. I do think that sometimes just getting more pucks on net does matter, but equally so, having dangerous, high quality chances can really translate into you winning a game, just as the Leafs have shown in many previous regular season games and as they showed last night. The first period had no penalties, so there were no special teams really to look at, which obviously changed pretty quickly as we go into the second period. Both teams were pretty equal in hits. It was very physical as expected, and 5v5, honestly the teams did look pretty even. Heading into the second period, Brady Tkachuk makes appearance and he does get a decent chance, but the Leafs also get a good early look and neither of them capitalise. I will say Brady Tkachuk was much less noticeable last night than I thought he was going to be. Shane Pinto also got a good look, but Stollarts once again keeps it out. Stollarts made a lot of timely saves last night. And then Tim Stützle is given the first penalty of the game, which leads to a Leafs power play, which John Tavares makes the most of, and it's reassuring to see that the Leafs power play is effective, because in last year's series against Boston, the Leafs special teams were a huge problem, whereas last night, that seems so much better. Core showing up, power play doing well, all is good. Ridley Gregg then cross-checks John Tavares, putting the Leafs on the man advantage once again. Nylander sends one home, 4-1 hockey game. I still can't believe that we saw the core all show up like that last night. Beautiful stuff. It was during the second period that Ottawa's lack of playoff experience really came through in the form of taking silly penalties and really lacking discipline. Ottawa did get their first power play of the game during the second period. William Nylander was given 2 minutes for a hooking call, but the Leafs managed to kill it off mainly thanks to Stollarts. The Leafs penalty kill is definitely a weakness that I could see potentially causing them issues in this series, but last night they showed that they can clearly hold their own, they can do a good job of it. But honestly, Stollarts was the saving grace of both the penalty kill and just the game in general. I feel like the Leafs didn't look quite as strong in the last little bit of that second period. It definitely wasn't perfect hockey from them by any means, but they held on, they kept the score as it was. Ottawa were then given yet another penalty with just 12 seconds left in the second period. This time it was on Batherson for tripping Calle Jarnkrok, which means that the Leafs were going into the third on the power play. After 40 minutes, Ottawa were outshooting the Leafs 21-18. So during that second period, the Leafs really did put more pucks on net. Of course, massive advantage starting off the final period, both 4-1 up and also on the power play. However, the Leafs power play at that point, that specific one, didn't look particularly impressive or dangerous. Then there was a delayed penalty call heading in the other direction, and Gregg makes it 2 for the Senators, making it a 4-2 game, which immediately made me nervous because a 4-1 scoreline as a Leafs fan is enough to cause you anxiety. There's my neighbours making all that noise again. However, this doesn't last long because Morgan Rielly responds pretty quickly, making it 5-2 Leafs and giving them that 3-goal cushion once again. Matthews and Tavares, just among some other, were really winning the face-offs last night, which is something that's really underappreciated. Then once again, the Ottawa Senators find themselves on the penalty kill, 5th penalty of the night, and it was another cross-check. Cross-checking penalties really show a lack of discipline, especially in a game as important as that. It's definitely like the first few years that the Leafs started making the playoffs. I saw quite a few people making that comparison, that when the Leafs core was a lot younger and more inexperienced, they definitely took a lot more silly penalties and just had a lack of discipline in those first few postseasons that they made, and clearly Ottawa are doing exactly the same. I would imagine it's just the adrenaline, the excitement of being in the playoffs, but without having the experience of being there previously. It's just a lethal combination that can lead to you doing stupid things, basically. But I mean, multiple cross-checks in a game is just like, come on, you need to get your discipline under control. Leafs take advantage of that power play too, making it 6-2. Thanks to Matthew Nyes. Very nice. Very nice. Ottawa went on to get yet another penalty, this time for a high stick. It just seemed like Ottawa couldn't stay out of the box, honestly. There was a play in front of Stollarts and Stollarts was slow to get up, and my heart literally stopped because Anthony Stollarts was a key part of that game last night, and as much as the entire team was good, he in particular for me was absolutely standout. So when he was slow to get up for a minute, I did worry, but he was fine. Luckily. So the Leafs held on strong for the rest of the game, and then right at the end of the game, like in the final minute, we ended up with the longest list of penalties being read out by the ref than you can imagine. The original call was on Robertson for a high stick, Ottawa got 2 for roughing, and then there was the rest.
On the ice to Toronto, number 89, 2 minutes for high sticking. Ottawa, number 15, has 2 minutes for roughing. And then Toronto, number 2, 11, 25, 74, and 89 have 2 minutes for roughing.
You know it's funny when a ref needs a script to read out all the penalties because there's so many. And then that was the end of the game. Leafs win at 6-2. Very fun game if you're a Leafs fan. Not so fun if you're a Senators fan, I can imagine. This is just the third time in 10 attempts that the Leafs have won a series opener, which is insane. The Leafs looked really good. The core all showed up. They got traffic on the net. They put pressure on Ullmark. They were physical. They were blocking shots. They were checking hard. All things that in previous years the Leafs certainly lacked. The pressure of the Battle of Ontario didn't get to them, which is also very refreshing because this team has been impacted mentally definitely before when it comes to pressure and the media and the stakes that are kind of put into these games. 3 power play goals from the Leafs in this game, and despite the fact that Ottawa outshot the Leafs 33-24 by the end of the game, the Leafs did have better, more high danger chances than what Ottawa did. Stollarts also just looked far superior to Ullmark. Ullmark only has a small sample size of postseason games, but the ones that he does have, his stats are not good in the slightest, and that's only worsened now by that game last night. It's not good when you're in the postseason with a below 900 save percentage. That's never good. 5v5 in this game, honestly, it looked pretty even, and I do still think that there's scope for this series to have some twists and turns in it, just if Ottawa sort their discipline out a little bit. But ultimately, Ottawa's lack of discipline did completely dash their hopes. However, Ottawa were still given a couple of opportunities that they didn't capitalise on with the man advantage. They did get 2 power plays and they weren't able to convert those into any goals, of course. But it's really hard to win a hockey game when you can't stay out of the box. I feel like the Leafs did a great job last night in not giving in to the temptation to take some stupid penalties back. It can be really easy in a game like that where, there's multiple cross-check penalties to kind of lose some discipline yourself. The Leafs really kept calm and cool and collected, and that sort of discipline is what takes you far in a playoff run versus not being disciplined. But even despite the obvious advantages that the Leafs had in terms of capitalising on Ottawa's lack of discipline, I still feel like the Leafs deserve a lot of credit for the work they did last night and the work that they've done all season long, because they do feel like a different team. They feel like a team that does things differently now than the way they used to, and that's really exciting to see as a fan. I think the team looks really confident with Stollarts in net. Stollarts is a very composed goaltender, and I think that the momentum he provides with his timely saves, combined with the fact that he is calm and composed, really makes the team play well in front of him. I think the Leafs really looked like a team that have fixed the things that were holding them back before, and if they can continue to do this throughout the rest of this series, I see no reason why they can't go on a deep cup run this year. So on to game 2 tomorrow night. I'm excited, I'm hopeful. Hopefully the Leafs can head to Ottawa with 2 wins in their pocket. That would be great. I'm going to stop talking now because 1, this video is already longer than I hoped it would be, and 2, the voice is going. It's just completely going. So leave me a comment down below. What did you think about game 1? How do you think this series is going to go? Did you enjoy the game last night? If you're a Leafs fan like me, then I imagine you did. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also like this video if you did enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with more hockey chats from across the pond soon. Bye guys.